Welcome back, guys. This is Automotive Anonymous. That's the all-new 2024 Subaru Impreza, and it's a sport trim level, which means it's number 2 of the 3 trim levels. Don't confuse this number 2 with a different kind of number 2, because it's actually a pretty cool ride, especially in Oasis blue, or what I like to call baby blue. And today we're going to review it, so we're going to do a walk around, go through the specs, initial driving impressions, 0 to 60 with the GPS, and then final thoughts to decide, is the all-new 6th generation Subaru Impreza worth your time and money, or do you leave it at the lot and consider the competition? These sell about 30 to 70,000 a year. They're pretty popular, and all new for 2024. There's a few cool features to go over, but I gotta say big thanks to Twin Falls Subaru. I'll link it below if you're interested in checking them out. Otherwise, we're gonna dive right in. From a distance, honestly, I think it looks just like the 350 horsepower Focus RS hot hatch from a few years ago. But as you get closer, you notice it's the Impreza. It's basically the non-lifted Crosstrek, which is also new for 2024. And these are pretty cool. They're roughly 5.8 feet wide, 4.8 feet tall, 14.5 feet long. The payload capacity is actually pretty stout at 1,500 to 1,600 pounds, meaning this Impreza can hold more than a lot of the other Subaru SUVs because the body doesn't weigh as much at 3,300 pounds, while being on the same generic Subaru global platform. It has 5.1 inches of ground clearance, so about 3.5 less than a Crosstrek, but it still has the same 370 final drive ratio. And then the gas tank for 2024 has been updated. It's now a 16.6 gallon tank out of the Crosstrek, compared to the last generation that only had a measly 13.2. But I think Subaru is being more honest this time around. They're rating it at 27 city, 34 highway, so you're gonna be road tripping for about 580 miles if you're conservative. The Impreza is still the compact car class of vehicle. It can do a full circle in 35 feet, which is actually the same as a BRZ without sliding the rear around. And then the wheelbase is about 9 feet, just under, so it's pretty planted, pretty stable on the road. There are a lot of things to go over though with what's different about the Sport as well as the 2024 model year in general. If you guys are new to my channel, I already reviewed a base and an RS. The RS has the bigger 2.5 liter Boxer. This just has the 2 liter that I'll show you under the hood pretty soon. But what you get for 2024 is really bright LEDs across the whole lineup, but on the Sport you also have these fog lights that are LED that look fantastic. Otherwise, the new Impreza dropped the CD player and physical buttons for the HVAC system. Instead, a base has the dual touchscreen. You can see in my video on that platform, the red one. Otherwise, the Sport and the RS get the 11.6 inch touchscreen that has wireless Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. But on the Sport, you also have a quieter interior, Sport Tune suspension, 8-speed CVT simulated gears, 18-inch wheels, power moonroof, and proximity key features to help you lock and unlock the car remotely or remote start it if you pay for the My Subaru app. If you're enjoying my video so far, please consider giving it a thumbs up. That little act of kindness really helps my channel to grow. Thank you. This is still a compact car class of vehicle, all-wheel drive, little 5-door hatchback. But since the first gen came out in 1992, it's been offered in things such as a coupe, a sedan, and the 5-door hatchback. But for this model year, all you get is this exact body style. It has a 225, 40, 18 wheel and tire all season. They look good. But I think you guys have seen enough of the exterior. Let's hop inside and see what else it has to offer. Door panel looks very Impreza. All the same soft touch materials, some red stitching, nice big handle. Bottle holder, some snacks, unnamed speaker, and all the window and lock controls that your heart could ask for. Kind of like a carpeted cloth door card. Nothing on the door sill, but that blue Oasis shining in the light looks fantastic. Impreza on the all-weather mats, rubberized pedals, fuse box, hood release, dash lighting, lighting stock, and then really nice contrasting gray and dark seats with some red stitching, and then power moonroof up top with some incandescent lighting. Sitting inside the Sport is actually a pretty nice place to be. Everything's comfortable, human-centric, easy to reach what you need, and it fires right up with the push-button start. Needles dance, Subaru emblem appears, just like right there. The horn sounds good. You have those paddle shifters again for the 8 speeds on the back of the wheel. Non-leather wrapped wheel, you'll notice. And then volume and voice controls on the left. You can go through the info screen in the center with that one, that toggle switch. And then adaptive cruise on the right with sport and intelligent mode. Otherwise, there's the big 11.6 inch screen. It's a little bit better than when this first came out a few years ago. Traction control, auto vehicle hold, things like that. But you do have to turn off auto start stop every time if you don't like that feature. Wireless Android Auto, Apple CarPlay really is pretty cool. And then you have a nice big rubberized storage spot right there, some plug-ins and an aux. You can also go down to manual mode if you want to do it that way. Electronic parking brake, heated seats. Subaru heated seats are not super strong. They don't seem to stay on like other brands, but they do okay to keep you warm. They just won't get you hot. 12 volt, some cup holders, a carryover CD holder, but this no longer has the CD player. Maybe someday they'll integrate that into the center console like some other Subaru models have. Otherwise, it's big for this compact car class of vehicle, but nothing, no plugins in there. And then we don't have any, you know, home lane, compass, things like that. We do have blind spot monitoring and the turn signals. It's a new system for 2024, that little dot right there versus the larger section on the old ones. And then your controls and your lighting to get to that moonroof. Other than that, let's turn it off and hop in the back. The back door panel follows the same theme. Very small pocket at the bottom. And then on the door sill, you just have a little bit of grip in case you have to use that as a step to get to the top if you have roof rails on it. Otherwise, the bench is a 60-40 split. It's lightweight, easy to move around. No all-weather mats back here, as you'll notice. And then sitting inside of it, I'm 5'11". I have a few inches of room in front of my knees. No mat pocket. Nothing to plug in or get ventilation back here. At least I have a couple cup holders and a pretty decent sized armrest. Otherwise, when you're sitting back here, it's a pretty good view of the rest of the cabin. Let's hop out, show you that hatchback. The blue contrasts those LED taillights pretty nicely. It actually looks pretty good from back here. You can unlock the vehicle, push the trunk or hatch release button, but know that it's not a power liftgate. You're gonna have to use the button under here to lift it up. But notice there is the pin code button, so you can access this vehicle without having your keys on you if you need to. I do have a video on how to set that. Otherwise, it lifts pretty easily. The shocks really help. And then 20 cubic feet is what you get back here. All other mat down here, incandescent lighting, a dog bowl, some tie downs throughout. Man, it does a pretty good job. It's easy to drop those seats and they lay pretty flat back there. And then down here underneath the all-weather mat, you have your fix-a-flat kit, your tools, and some extra storage. What are you gonna hide down here? Comment below. Otherwise, we're gonna lower the hatch and move back around to the passenger side. There's nothing earth-shattering on this side. The door panel looks the same. We still have the mountainous grip on the door sill. We have the 60 split, and you'll notice how flat the seats do lay, which is pretty cool. The big thing to mention is that's where your designated backseat driver goes. Proximity key features do follow on the passenger side. Door panel looks basically identical to the driver's side, minus some of those controls. Nothing on the door sill. Manually adjusted seats. I think Sport should be printed on the backrest. That would be pretty cool. And then you have a small to medium sized glove box. I'll include a picture of the window sticker right here. Otherwise, there's no plugins. And let's come around to the front, show you under the hood, and see what the 2-liter Boxer looks like on the Sport Impreza. Pop the hood. Under the hood, you have 152 ponies, 145 pound-feet of twisty torque out of the 2-liter Boxer. If you want more power, you get the RS. You'll gain about 30 of each. Otherwise, it's really well engineered under here. You have airflow through the grille, through the filter, the baffling, the throttle body, the upper intake manifold. Then up top, you have the alternator, the oil dipstick, oil filter, oil fill, all of your reservoirs, power electric steering, the battery, and this 87-cent piece of plastic to keep you from losing your fingers in the serpentine belt. That thing would be really easy to change where it's mounted on the front, like a rear-wheel drive setup engine. But it's time to drop the hood and take it for a drive. And we are going to teleport and time travel to the road. Initial driving impressions of the Oasis Blue Sport Impreza. So that's really good. It feels very much like every other Impreza I've driven. Visibility is something you can count on being really good because Subaru cares about safety, and visibility is a big aspect of that. We already know the room in the vehicle is great, plentiful for being only 14.5 feet long, and you know, 3,300 pounds, almost a 9-foot wheelbase. It really plants itself well on the road. It holds its own, especially if you're going through snow or ice, things that I drove through in Imprezas during the winter when I did my last couple reviews before this new generation came out. But overall, it feels really good. I do wish the Sport had a leather wrapped steering wheel, but we're just gonna have to do with what we have. Comfort in here is fantastic. Everything is very human centric. It feels really good. Everything is right where it belongs. I of course wish that the 11.6-inch touchscreen was in fact a smaller screen, with a CD player and physical buttons for HVAC. But hey, that's just me, that's just my opinion. Otherwise, everything in here is where it should be. You know, you have some natural light coming through the roof, which is fantastic. It feels stable, it feels supportive on the road. It's insulated, I think, a little bit better than the last generation. Maybe that paired with having less wind on today's test. The speakers, for being the bass speakers, actually sounded pretty decent. The bolstering is fair. I think a lot of people are going to be pretty comfortable in here, but definitely test drive one for yourself. Get some bum time in the seat so that you can make your own intelligent decision. But overall, Imprezas ride well. They're good at what they are, and something I think is pretty cool, pretty unique about this is because it's the smallest vehicle on the Subaru global platform. It can hold the most stuff. That's why these have such a high payload capacity and around 1,500–1,600 pounds. Just a little bit of an acceleration going uphill. Fairly anemic, where we're at about a mile above sea level today, but you'll see that 0 to 60 in just a second because we're going to teleport to our private road. 0 to 60 in the Impreza Sport. Traction is off, sport mode is on, and I'll brake rev the CVT. Keep in mind, density altitude today is 5,200 feet, so this vehicle is basically a mile above sea level, which means the naturally aspirated 2-liter is probably down on power about 18 or 19%. Let's go. True 0 to 60 came in at 10.62 seconds. Here's the graph and then our final thoughts. Final thoughts of the all-new Impreza Sport is that it's honestly pretty cool. The new upgrades, such as the LED headlights, sport-tuned suspension, and quieter interior, suit it really well. I do like that Subaru even gave the Impreza the 4th gen eyesight camera system, which is the 3 cameras. So you and your family are going to be pretty safe. This isn't rated yet for safety, but it's likely a top safety pick, just like the outgoing 5th generation was. But what are your thoughts, guys? Do you miss the CD player? Do you miss the manual transmission? Are you going to find one of those, a 2023, before it's too late? Or are you going to be one of the first people to pick up the new 6th generation? Overall, I think it handles the road well. It's comfortable to drive. You can even fit an adult in the back seat, which isn't always the case with compact class vehicles. And you're going to be getting over 30 miles per gallon on the highway while having a capable, proven all-wheel drive system that's not front-wheel drive biased. So what are your thoughts? Comment them below. Like this video if it was helpful in any way. Subscribe if you want to see more. I post at least once a week, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.